What is cloud computing? By a very conventional definition. According to National Institute of Standards and Technologies, cloud computing is about access to shared pool of resources. And that's very generic. So it comes down to how you deploy it and how you deliver services and what are the features that offer to customers. I'm going to just touch on the deployment of public, private, and hybrid. And I'm going to take a look into the delivery models of the services, which can be software as a service or platform or infrastructure, and a bit deeper on the characteristics. Your deployment models can be the 4 different types that we said. In public, basically, there is a cloud provider that owns hardware, software, services. So you as a user are not bothered about maintaining anything related to the infrastructure. When it comes to private cloud, it's totally the other way around. You as a user have exclusivity on the servers, on the services, and on the infrastructure. And the community is a mix of these to some degree. It's what organizations, hospitals, universities do, that they gather together, a number of them, and they set up their IT infrastructure. So what happens is that it's not public, but it's also not very much private. Then it comes to a hybrid, which is something that is quite recent, I would say about 5-6 years, that you are doing a mix and match of different types of clouds according to your needs. Let's look at briefly what each one of these offers to you. In public clouds, obviously you get low cost. And obviously you can imagine, I have an infinite number of servers and infrastructure available to me. And technologies are extremely advanced because the competition is high and all those providers ensure that whatever is happening and all the advancements are deployed and available for the customer. What you're losing is control over your infrastructure. Your data sovereignty and the customization is the least possible. You come to private cloud, you get your security, you can make it efficient as per your needs, and it's because of its security, it's very easy to meet compliance and regulatory concerns. But then the issue is your resources are limited. You're back to basic. At the times of need, you will go back to needing those data centers on wheels, and costs are high. In hybrid model, it's very much flexible on how the company will set it up. So if you want to take some services on the cloud, maintain some services in-house, that's possible. We have a lot of security people in here. So the security guys, what they do most of the time, they say authentication, authorization, access control remains in-house. We don't let any cloud to have our users' information. But then the rest of it, let it go to cloud, we don't care. That has become a common practice, actually, that wherever there are sensitive information and sensitive services, companies try to keep it to themselves, and whatever is resource heavy, push it to the cloud. Now, let's see what are the service delivery models. Okay, please bear with me. Don't even read them. I just wanted to put it there for you to see how as you move to the right, you're just losing control. Even I cannot recite them out of my memory. The idea is when you have your legacy on-prem infrastructure, you have full control. As you go get infrastructure as a service from a cloud provider, you lose a little bit of a control. Then you go get platform as a service, you lose a bit more. And you do software as a service, that's it. So example, ERP. If you had your ERP on your enterprise IT backdoor, that was to the left, the legacy type. If you get your ERP or Oracle or whatever that you had and say, okay, I control it, but I put it on Amazon, that becomes infrastructure as a service. You are in full control of the servers, of how they run, how they're interconnected. You have your IT team. It's just the hardware is somewhere else. Then you go to platform, which is you give away a little bit more of a control. which is maintaining and keeping the services up, but you're still in charge of your databases. The last one is when you get ERP online, when you get Office 365 online, that's it. You have control over nothing and you're paying on a monthly basis. So this so far is the boring side. Let's try to make this a little bit exciting, right? Let's look at the promises of cloud, and then we are going down to see how they have met them or not. The promise was a certain service level agreement, and I insist on this. This is not some fancy word that we get resources optimized, we get elasticity, we get availability. These are solid figures when they say SLA. When someone comes down and says, I give you availability of 11 nines, that's guaranteed that the servers will be up and running. When they come down and say, we give you scalability of an unlimited number of servers, if you sign up a contract with us for that SLA, okay, God knows how much you're gonna pay, but that's guaranteed. So why I put down all this seemingly excessive offering is to say it can be done. It might come down to be a bit costly, but cloud can provide guaranteed service. So this morning we were actually talking about so many companies that hit the load issue. I think Zoom was down Monday, half of the day, and it got to news, also NY Times and everywhere, that their servers crashed. Obviously, Monday morning, schools started. Within half an hour, they could not manage the traffic that was directed. So this seems really, with what is being offered, the cloud is definitely an inevitable future for us. Now, there are so many companies in this landscape, but fact is, probably most of you have not heard the names that are in the tech cloud. I can imagine. Most of us only know the household names, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft. And my question from you is, have you thought about it? It can't be that there are only 4 companies in the cloud. This is one of the most money-making industries as of today. Why you only know that? Because they do something that is called managed services. What is managed services? Let's go back to our example of the virtual fitting room. You remember, we started with the business requirements, and when we did the system configuration and IT setup. So what if someone could say, I get your business requirement, you don't worry about IT infrastructure. Give me your business requirement, I make it happen for you. You don't need, like you as an individual who is going tomorrow to set up any kind of business. I heard one of you, when you were introducing yourself, talk about a digital presence website or something. That's the idea. That take your business requirement to the left that you see, and we provide you with managed services. I put Amazon because I'm a certified Amazon architect. That's what I'm very comfortable talking about. But this is uniformly in Azure, in Google Cloud Platform, that what you get is they look at the business need and they give you that specific service that you can cascade with other services to create the holistic solution that you need. And let's just take a look at that. You have a 3D database need. 3D databases are objects. They give you Amazon S3 and DynamoDB. You need recommender system. You have Amazon Redshift. You need the 3D customer modeling. You have AWS Lambda. You need a global presence. You get your global accelerator and CloudFront. So it's not as easy as a Lego to just really mix and match, but it's much easier than setting up IT infrastructure the way you decided to do at the beginning. With a few good cloud architects, you can get any business need and convert it to a ready-to-launch cloud application. Now, with this in mind, let's look at the opportunities. First of all, this figure is interesting. We only have 32% of the companies moved into cloud. We have 57% of this industry is still running on-prem. This is a huge potential for people, for those who want to do IT, who are thinking of their careers and all that. So the next thing is the strategy that you want to consider. So it's not really straightforward what, when, where, how to do. There are a lot of considerations. You have to rehost, refactor, rebuild, revise, and replace. I'm not going to go into details of all of these figures. These will be posted. The reference is mentioned. This is a very interesting article I put there. You can just take a look at it and see how this thing is evolving. And then the next area is the multi-cloud. So people are not anymore going to a single provider and thinking that they are going to give you the solution that you need. Right now, the problem is Google has the best database, which is the BigQuery, and Amazon has Lambda. So if only there was an orchestration possible in between this Lambda and the Google BigQuery, that was heaven. That was a match made in heaven. And this is the area a lot of companies are working on. And the next one, which is going to be very serious in the next 1 or 2 years, is going beyond cloud. So for a time, if you could do that service-oriented architecture, you had a job anywhere you walked in. If you could do managed services. But now people are thinking, how if we go cloud agnostic? How if we can design solutions that independent of which cloud, which service provider can just run everywhere? And it can be done. If you design microservices, DevOps, it is not vendor specific. And you can just move it around every provider that you can imagine, cheaper ones that are emerging. There are platforms that are coming up like Terraform and Ansible. Not putting these names too complicated. These are just things that we don't hear on a day-to-day basis, but they're going to change the way we do cloud. And I'm gonna end my talk today with a big claim that cloud is on demise. So don't think of it as something is just gonna go on growing for the next 4 or 5 years. We have to skate to where the puck is going. And what do I mean by this? This is the Gartner's hype cycle for 2020, 2019. Look at the top, but you don't see cloud. Like I basically digged it all away. You don't see it anymore. It's not even on the downside. What we have is 5G. Towards the left, we have AI PaaS. So as a service, but only AI. And then we have edge. So my last takeaway from here is to tell you that if you are thinking, what is the disruptive innovation that's going to change cloud? And as usual, the disruptive technologies are always inferior, but they are going to disrupt. First of all is the edge computing that's coming with 5G intertwined, and Internet of Things that is also intertwined for 5G. So in a way, 5G is the enabler for all of this. But at the same time, they are the building blocks that if they are not in place, 5G is not going to kind of pick up. And one of the reasons I put this in place is to make you interested. If you like this presentation and all that, these are the areas that I'm working on. I could come back and give you some presentation on that as well. And with that, I conclude this. I don't know how much of time.
Thank you so much. I think it took 22 minutes. It was great. It was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Atoosa.